Please give me the message that people need to hear right now in this moment. Welcome to this week's video. Thank you so much for tuning in and being here. And first things first, I want to be completely honest with you. Right now, in this moment, as these words are coming out, I have absolutely zero idea what this video is going to be about. Crazy, right? But honestly, this last week has been such a crazy week in my life, in the world, that I'm honestly just trying to process everything. And I just don't necessarily know what the right thing to talk about is. This last week, I was very confronted with the subject of death as we lost someone in our family this past week. So it's really been a week of a lot of reflection and introspection and asking myself the big questions. What does this all mean? What's really important in life? But then you also have the big news that everyone's speaking about, and it's something that I feel needs to be addressed in this video. And that is the subject of racial injustice and how prevalent it is across institutions in America, that something needs to be done. I'm not gonna go into full detail here on this video, but instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the issue while tying it into a very important principle that you can take with you and apply into your life. Right now, we stand at the foot of a mountain. A lot of us know that things need to change. This world, the way it is working right now, cannot continue. We cannot go this way any longer. The things that are acceptable in this world can no longer be acceptable if we want to evolve into this higher state of consciousness, this higher state of love, this higher state of freedom, this higher state of unity. But we stand at the foot of a mountain looking up, wondering, how are we going to conquer this mountain? But individually, there are several points in our own lives where we too stand at the foot of a mountain. It's happened to me several times in my life. I'm still in the process of climbing my mountains. But I can tell you this, there's no mountain that's too big for you to climb. Even the biggest mountain, the biggest literal mountain in the world, people have climbed it. Not just one person, not just two people, not just three people, multiple people throughout history have climbed Mount Everest time and time again. When we stand before these mountains in our life, for me, it was when I weighed 351 pounds, asking myself, how am I going to lose over 150 pounds? Because I didn't need to lose 100 pounds. I didn't need to lose 50 pounds. I didn't need to lose 150 pounds. I honestly needed to lose more, need to lose 170. And I'm at 100 now. I'm at 100 lost. I still have 70 more to go. I'm like a little bit over halfway. But when we stand before these things in our life, we ask ourselves, how am I going to get through it? And it's perfectly normal and it's perfectly okay to ask these questions. But we must understand that we are capable of so much more than we truly think we are. Tomorrow is never promised. Today is the moment where we get to choose to take another step that gets us closer to where we want to be. And ultimately, that's what life is. It's step by step by step by step of this path that we are walking that ultimately leads us to this end destination that we have in mind. And how do we get there? We get there by continuing to take step after step after step after step. I love saying this quote because it's just true. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's one of the most cliche common quotes you can probably hear. Or a tree doesn't grow overnight. But it's just the truth. Things take time, especially things worth doing. So we have to look at these things that we want to take on, these endeavors in our lives, and understand and appreciate that there is a process behind it. And while we may want to be on top of that mountain today, that's just not how it works. And not only is that not how it works, but if we were able to climb that mountain overnight, it wouldn't be the same. What makes climbing a mountain so special are the steps that you had to take to climb it. It's when you can stand at the peak of the mountain, looking down, knowing that you overcame the adversity, the hardship, the struggle. It's all of those things that make it worth it in the end. Sometimes we might not feel like climbing. Sometimes we might feel tired. We might feel overwhelmed. We might not have energy to continue on. Sometimes you might climb and then feel like you need to stop and stay at that level for a bit. and then continue climbing, and then stop and stay at that level for a bit. And if that's how it happens, that's completely okay. There is no wrong or right way to climb your mountain. But I can tell you this, I'm absolutely certain of this. Step by step, you will get there. You will overcome. You will conquer step by step. And each step is just important as the one that precedes it. They all lead us to where we want to go. So what is this long rant about? What is this long mountain story? Christian, what are you talking about? Right now, it's very evident that this world we are living in is not the idealized version of the world that we want to be living in. And day by day, it becomes more clear and obvious to plenty of us that we as a collective humanity are capable of so much more. We're capable of more love. We're capable of living in a world where people are free to be who they are. And while we understand that, we also recognize that it's going to take a lot of work to do this. We don't have to have all the answers right now. We don't. All we need is to have a desire to climb this mountain, and we have to be willing to take the first step. Your first step might look different than my first step. All of our first steps can look completely different. We all have different versions of these mountains in our own lives. But if there's one message I just want to leave you with today, is it's the actions we take daily, the things we do every single day that are going to be what allows us to climb these mountains. The best way, the easiest way to do this is to take, let's say you have a goal. There's a goal you have in mind. For me, it was losing 100 pounds, which I'm nearly complete with. See, this mountain I had before me, I didn't even break it into climbing the whole mountain. I set a benchmark for myself first to achieve. And then that benchmark becomes the standard upon which I take my actions against. So you have a goal, you break it down into benchmarks, right? Levels or layers, if you will, that you want to unlock and achieve on your way to this goal. But ultimately, it's to me, it's about breaking these things down into the daily, to the micro of it all. Break down your goal and the actions you need to take to what you need to do day by day to get you there. Every single day, what are the things you need to do that are going to take you from where you are now to where you want to be? And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen step by step. But if you break these big things down into smaller pieces, it becomes much easier to do. You get the point. You get the idea. This big thing we have before us, this big problem, the complexity of it, the amount of time it's going to take, do not let that dissuade us. And let's also understand we're not going to get there overnight. It's going to be a process. But what we can all collectively do as we stand at the foot of this mountain looking up is commit to taking step by step, day by day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you, and never forget, together we grow.